because the topic which is chosen by them is quite apt topic related with non-destructive testing and the structural health monitoring of this system. And basically, I'm not a person from engineering, but while talking with Mr. Rakesh Bhute, I learned that a lot of sensors are getting used in the non-destructive testing as well as structural health monitoring of civil structures as well as mechanical structures. So, since I'm a person from computer engineering and incidentally I'm teaching the subject Internet of Things on my students, and there we are teaching the different sensors, like teach the students the sensors about strain gauges, stress and strain can be measured, the climate. We also teach them the different vibration sensors and different sensors which are used for sensing the temperature of object. So we gather the data from all these sensors. The same thing is used
recording आता नंतर चालू केले मी टॅबच केले हो नाही तर सरांचं फुल स्क्रीन करू का फुल स्क्रीन म्हटलं सर दिसत नाही
thousands or millions of sensors can put devices on the objects, or even these sensors can be spread all over the agricultural field in order to monitor the agricultural. So the data gathered from all these sensors can be then processed by coordinated board and the appropriate result. So whether there is a fracture or there is some problem in structure, that problem can be identified with the help of this technique. So I must once again congratulate all the participants who have joined this webinar virtually from different places. And I also thank the resource person, Dr. Deepu, who has accepted our invitation and he has joined this webinar in order to enlighten our students on the non-destructive testing and health monitoring of civil engineering structures. So I will not take much of your time with these few words. I offer my best wishes to all the participants, and in this corona pandemic, stay safe, stay home, and take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for giving your valuable time and guidance to our participants. So I would like to tell that more than 300 participants have done the registration for the said webinar. So out of which 200 plus are the students, 50 plus faculties are there from various colleges, and 30 plus other persons are who are actually field working. So from municipal corporation also there. Okay. Okay. So what I have done, so I have shared the link of said Zoom. So the number of participants are more on the Zoom, and here it is less. Okay, I share the screen. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I would like to give the introduction of our speaker. So Dr. Nitu URS, who is our resource person for the said webinar, is working as associate professor in Department of Civil Engineering, Dayanand Sagar College of Engineering, Bengaluru. Ma'am has completed her BE Civil Engineering from PS Mandya, Mysore University, MTech in Industrial Structures from SJCE, Mysore, VTU, and PhD in Structural Health Monitoring with thesis damage detection and assessment of residual strength of structures using vibration-based techniques from VTU. Ma'am has worked as design engineer for over 4 years and designed numerous steel structures for Jindal Vijayanagar Steel, also designed many multi-story concrete structures. She has 16 years of teaching experience with 10 years of research experience. She has guided over 35 PG and 20 UG projects, and presently she is guiding 2 PhD scholars. She is the member of various societies like Indian Association of Computational Mechanics, Indian Association of Structural Engineering, Indian Concrete Institute, member of Indian Society of Technical Education. She has published 5 papers in international journal, 2 papers in national journal, 9 papers in international conferences, 6 papers in national conferences. Also, she has organized various workshops. She has attended 17 FDPs and 5 workshops, and she has been funded with for the project from KS CST for the title Detection of Damage in Steel Structure using Smart Materials and Wireless Networks. Okay, so in the year 2012. So now I would like to request ma'am to start her presentation. Over to you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Just present the entire screen, ma'am. Yeah, yeah. Yes, it is now present. Okay.
Thank you very much. So before I start the presentation, I would like to thank Mr. Ritesh for this so very moving
Hello?
forward now, and this is very much
Yeah.
required for all which I will cover. And before I
Just
start
give a message on hi on the this my number only. I will send you the link. Yeah, yeah, yeah. WhatsApp. Yeah, yeah, yeah. गणलंय म्हटलं काय व्हायचं कोणी आल्यात माणसांचं त्यांना आता ही जी गुगलची आहे का नाही तीच लिंक पाठवतो म्हणजे तिथं तर नव्यानं आकडा होतो
are there. I just want to tell them what is the future of civil engineering and what are the interdisciplinary techniques we are using in civil engineering. Because people like usually think that civil engineering is just about design and construction, but there is much, much more to it. So that we will try to understand today. So my next slide. One second. Yeah. So this is the brief content of my presentation. So I'll be discussing about the history of NDT. That is very important. Like to know the present, past, understanding the past becomes a major part of it. So I would like to emphasize on the history of NDT as well as history of SHN and an overview about it. So this term you might have heard, especially people who are in industry, they are very well versed. So students, you should understand this term. Structural analysis, you know, structural design, you know, but what is structural assessment? So structural assessment, it is a procedure where we carry out how the structure is actually working, what is the adequacy, whether there is structural integrity, how the structural components are working. So all these comes under structural assessment. Basically, first I'll be talking about NDT technique. So before that, what are the methods used to assess a structure? So there are majorly, actually it is 3 types. So that one is destructive testing, the other is non-destructive testing, and one more is semi-destructive testing. But actually the semi-destructive testing and non-destructive testing is nowadays like they're combined together. Okay, so we very less use the semi-destructive technique. So I have just explained these 2 terms. Okay, and before I start this detailed presentation, I would like to say that I have used most of the photographs. Like I should be very much thankful to Google and the people who have uploaded all these techniques there, so that I could download some photographs from there and present it to you for the better understanding. See, the time is 1 hour, which is very short. I cannot show you the videos and all. So as far as possible to make you understand, I have added few photographs. So destructive, by the name itself, we can understand destructive means like damaging, or destructing is like disturbing it. Okay. So 1 second, I'll just so okay, if you can see the cursor, you can see my cursor, right? Because I'm not able to yeah, pointer options. Yeah, fine. Okay. So this part is, you people who have already done concrete lab or your basic material testing lab, you have already used this destructive testing, which we use like cube testing will be doing, or any other steel specimen testing will be doing in the laboratory, where you are changing its dimension itself. That is, it becomes like you will not be able to use that material again for car. I'm not telling as the original part. You can use it as a demolished waste. That is entirely another part. Okay. So you are basically disturbing the material while testing. So that is destructive testing. Okay. This photograph. And without disturbing any material or existing structure, if you're testing its performance, then it is called as a non-destructive testing. Okay. And history of NDT is it is a very, very interesting thing. Are you able to hear me? Nitish, I think there should not be any problem. Okay. Presuming that you are able to hear me, I'm just continuing. So history of NDT, see, non-destructive testing, it's not a new thing. It has been there since centuries, okay? So history means right from the uh, uh, existing, like human being existed, the non-destructive technique is being used. So it is not centuries old, but the name came into existence late. Okay. So NDT is nothing but we are testing tapping any material, the wall we will tap to see the voids or tiles we can, we will, when we walk, there is any displacement of tile, we can make out with the sound, or even while buying vegetable, for example, the watermelon fruit, will tap it and take it to see whether it is ripened properly. So this technique is not new, it is old. But when we started using, like this term was started using when during the time of Second World War, when they actually started checking the weapons before they were actually used. So that time, this term was called as non-destructive testing. Otherwise, the technique is very old. It is not a new technique. It's a very old technique, fine. And then these are, see, there are n number of non-destructive testings used. But I am just covering very few techniques, very important, and which is very commonly used in our civil engineering application, that I'll be covering today. Okay. Fine. So this is surface material testing, and it is called as cut and pull out test, which is also called as capo test. This is one test I was telling something called as semi-destructive, where a part of the structure might be disturbed or removed, but it doesn't alter the properties of the structure. Okay, so this is called as NDT, but actually it comes under semi-destructive test. So you have to focus on these two photos. See, the equipment looks like this. And here what will happen is a rod, okay? A rod is inserted into the existing concrete first, okay? And actually it is inserted with the help of drilling it, okay? Drilling the material, and its diameter is 25 mm. So, and also the depth will be 25 mm. And after just inserting it, then you are going to tighten it, okay? You're going to tighten it, and after tightening it, the force is applied and that part of the material is removed. actually it comes out like a frustum of a cone. Okay, so when it comes out, the force which is required to pull it out in the form of a frustum of a cone is considered as its strength. Okay, so this is called as a cut and pull out test. Okay, and next is very important technique and very commonly used in our civil engineering application, that is the rebound hammer. You might have heard of rebound hammer. And and one more thing, I request some response from your side for me to understand that somebody is there and I am live there. Like there is no technical glitch. You are able to hear me. Okay, whenever I ask something, a response from one student or one faculty will be appreciated. Okay, so rebound hammer is a very old technique. It was invented in the year 1948 by a Swiss engineer, Schmidt. So it is also called as a Swiss hammer. Okay, rebound hammer is also called as a Swiss hammer, and it is very easy to use. So as you saw in the capo test, the material is disturbed, a part of the material has to be removed, and the time required is also little high. I'm not telling it is hours, it may be few minutes, but rebound hammer is instant, instant test. Okay. So the earlier, the original skimming hammer used to look like this, but there is lot of changes being made, and it is made more and more handy for use using the same. So there are, like you can see, majorly type N, type L, and type M. These are the major. In the N itself, there are NR, L, you can see LR, LB. I'll be explaining it in one slide because see, rebound hammer itself is a big topic. Okay, because it's an overview, I'm just telling you a brief introduction. I'm giving a very brief introduction about it. So, how to use a rebound hammer? This is the cross section. You can see the dissected part of the rebound hammer. So you can see the spring is attached. This is a rod which will come and hit. It's called as the hammer guide, which will pull the plunge. Okay, and when the locking button is released, this rod comes and hits the concrete surface. This is called as the plunger, which is supported by the hammer guide. So this plunger comes and hits the concrete surface, and there will be a scale present. Okay, this is the scale. This is the scale in the original hammer. So in the scale, you can see a number. That number you have to note down, and there is a chart provided. In that chart, you have to see what is the number, and that number will give you what is the quality of concrete. Here you cannot directly tell what is the actual compression strength of the concrete, but you can tell what is the quality of the concrete. Especially if, for a newly constructed concrete also you can check, and for a very old structure also you can check it, because after deterioration whether the strength is fine or it has deteriorated, that you can make out. Okay, and the next slide will be yeah. So this is a simple introduction I have given about different types. So I was telling you about type N. So in that type N, you have NR also. Here the impact energy is 2.2. Okay, 2.2 Newton meter, and 2.207 actually Newton meter, and it is used for the even for bridge construction, even for ordinary buildings you can use. What is the difference between type N and NR is only about the appearance. Okay, this is the most commonly used type of hammer, where here you can see the scale with a special recording device. Fine. And type L is for small structures. That is, it may be a thin wall structure, it may be for a brick, because its impact energy is less, that is 0.735. Okay, so it is used as a rebound hammer to check a thin structure or a comparatively weaker structure. Okay, here you can find type LR and type LB. And type M, where the impact energy, you can see, you cannot compare it with the other two. It is 29.43, which is used for the mass concrete structures such as road pavements, or it may be dams. Okay, and this is it has not it is not discussed much about the type P, pendulum type, but they are of very important practice, that is for checking. See, you can see its impact energy is 0.883, and here you can check the strength of the mortar. Okay, next. Yeah, I was after getting the rebound hammer is just a number. We will get it as a rebound number. So when we get the rebound number, we cannot directly go to this chart will be provided, and it is discussed in IS 133112 1992. Okay, so we cannot directly go and see this number. For example, I got 32 as the number. I can just go and see and tell, okay, it's a good layer, because one more important factor is this chart. Why this chart is used is we have to check whether how we were holding the rebound hammer. Okay, so I'll appreciate if somebody can answer me, when are we going to hold the rebound hammer horizontally to check which structure? Can anybody answer this? Horizontally? So I think I'm there. Uh, Anybody is am I audible?
Yes,
Am I
ma'am.
audible? Yeah, good. So anybody, if you're wrong also, it's not a problem. So when are we going to hold the rebound hammer horizontal? To check which kind of structure? Usually it is column. Okay, column or a wall, anything. If you are going to check that type of structure, then we are going to hold it in a horizontal manner. Okay, then again, you can see vertically down here, you may be checking a slab from the top. Okay, it's just an example. There are many cases. Okay, so if you are going to check a structure from the or a slab from the top, you can hold it upside down. And if you are going to check a beam from bottom, you can keep it vertically upward. So these these curves are for different position of the rebound hammer. So this is actually the number which you have to check. Okay, so I'm just giving a very brief introduction, okay, about rebound hammer. And the next type of non-destructive testing, which is very commonly used, is ultrasonic pulse velocity test. Okay, it is called as UPV, and it is also very commonly used. And here, UPV will not give you any strength. It will not discuss about the strength aspect, but the quality of the concrete again will be, we can make out the quality of the concrete. So nobody will appreciate a concrete if it has any crack inside, or if it has any cavity inside, or any other flaw inside. Okay, fine. So in that case, we can make out this. And this is mainly working on the simple concept, velocity. Okay, velocity is equal to distance traveled by time taken. So here the what we are doing is, one is the we are using the transducers here, and the the sound waves travel through the concrete. Okay, so usually this is one type which I have shown in the photograph. Usually the best result you will get it when you hold it like this. Okay, that is one transducer should be here, and in the opposite surface the receiver should be there. In such case, the sound travels easily. Okay, so this is the best picture to explain it. So if there is any other flaw, any other material, that distance traveled might take more time. Okay, and if it is again if there is any crack, you can see that there is a crack protruding till here. So here what will happen is, if there is a crack in its path, it will try to travel like this and come like this. Okay. So again, there is a disturbance in traveling. So again, if the here the crack is starting from here, so the wave actually returns back. Okay. So in such case, we can make out for this using this table. Okay. So if the velocity is high, then the quality of input is excellent. Okay. Next, this is one method where you can check whether the concrete is corroded. So this is half cell potential meter, which you might have studied about half cell potential meter in your chemistry. The thing is here, the half cell potential is connected to the steel. So whenever there is corrosion, the electrons will be exchanging, right? So that corrosion part you have studied. So that will increase the potential. That is, the voltmeter will be connected to it. And if there is high potential difference, then the rate of corrosion will be high. So that is what this table says. And this is one more advantage of a half cell potential meter is it is very like it is a portable. All the NDT techniques which I have discussed till now, no, they are portable tech. To carry it is very easy. You can just carry it and do the test at the site of an existing structure. And profometer is used to, usually it is used to measure the cover of the structure. See, sometimes what happens is if there is a very old structure or a structure is there and you are procuring it, you want to check whether the cover was provided properly, or if it is an old structure, you just don't know anything about it. Okay, so it's an existing structure, so you want to check what is the cover and is there any disposition of the reinforcement. In those cases, you can use profometer. Profometer can measure the cover as well as the, it can even measure the bars, diameter of the reinforcement which is used. Okay. Next is, it's a very interesting radiographic testing. See, I'll be discussing about it when I move to SHM part, but it's like so many methods which are used in the medical field is being applied in engineering also. Okay, so this radiographic testing is like, I'm not telling it is very easy to conduct this test for an existing structure. The structure, especially civil engineering structure, which is like a building or a dam. But if you are checking it for a material or a pipeline, which has to be used for construction, this will be very easy because it has to be conducted in a closed environment as far as possible. And here the X-rays or gamma rays are projected, passed through the structure to be tested, and on the film the image will be recorded. So this image you can see it's not just a solid structure. You can see an opening here that is actually in the section, the opening is there, and it's cut open here. So the rays cannot directly travel. That's why you are getting the image of the floor. Fine. And here again, if there is a corrosion, a part of it is open, that will also be recorded. So radiographic testing is used, but radiographic testing, using radiographic testing is not as simple as other methods like rebound hammer or a ultrasonic pulse velocity or a profometer, which are very handy. Okay, radiographic testing requires a special place. Okay, we know that you might have seen people undergoing the X-ray, like exposed to X-rays. So where a lot of precaution has to be taken. Okay, and next we will go to this infrared thermography. So it's here the infrared rays are made to travel through the structure to be tested. So the difference in the temperature is recorded, and the image is again it will be getting it in the terms of image. And if there is, for example, this picture gives you see, this is a structure, so where there is an opening, just imagine that there is one, the structure is continuous like this and there is an opening like this. So you can see this opening here. Okay, that image is obtained in the screen. So basically in our structure, if there is a crack, it may be a wooden structure, it may be a concrete, or it may be a steel. So you can see that there is a opening. Okay, and this is again a very widely used technique, especially in I'm not telling we are not using any technique. We are using, that is, we means we Indians are using many techniques, but few techniques we only few people are using. Whereas in other countries, yes, they are using it since many years. But we have also started using many techniques. So one is the ground penetrating radar, where inside the, like for example, you have embedded a pipe inside, you want to see whether there is a leakage in the pipe. Okay, or else a post tension cable is placed and you want to see where the position of that. So in these cases, the radio waves here, ground penetrating radar, the radio waves are sent, and it is being, the response is being recorded from an antenna, and it is being viewed to see what is the position. Okay, so this is the image which is obtained through this. This is, and it's also like I have inserted this image because it can be handy to check the concrete. And if you're checking a bigger area, then you can just use it as a scroller and you can just roll it over and check the picture. Then see, I'm telling you, NDT itself is a subject. So I am not telling I have covered even 1/10 of it, but my idea was to give like students should understand that, oh, all these techniques are there in our civil engineering to monitor our structure, check the structure which are existing. So that's why I have just mentioned a very few techniques which are used in the non-destructive testing. Destructive testing is like, it's not at all a problem, because in most of our laboratories we are conducting all the destructive testing. So students will be knowing it very well. But yeah, non-destructive testing, I don't think many of the university syllabus it is being covered. In our, because in Karnataka, I am teaching for I am from an autonomous college. So in VTU as well as autonomous, we have introduced this non-destructive testing laboratory to our MTech structural engineering students. And shortly we want to introduce in our concrete technology laboratory also, because we have all the equipments. We are using it in our consultancy and our MTech project. So we want to introduce. So if possible, people who are there in the decision making, you people can also think about introducing this very important aspect in the syllabus, so that students will be knowing it before they enter the actual world, practice world. Okay, so next, this is a very interesting thing, and lot of debate is going on worldwide. Few people say that NDT is structural health monitoring, and few people say no, NDT is different, health monitoring is different. So the debate, let the debate go on, and we people, let us appreciate both and use both the things. So here I'll be telling how different a health monitoring technique is from a NDT technique. So why this? See, this health concept makes it the term very interesting. Okay, so I always say that we all give very much importance to our health. So we have seen that immunity, health, and maintaining a good, like having a good immunity is everything very important for us to fight diseases. So we have learned the importance of our health in these 1.5 years because of this coronavirus. And see, structures, many people, if you are like of 40 plus or 50 plus age, or the children, like students who are listening to me, You might have seen that your parents might have invested their almost like a lifetime earning on the structure which they construct. Fine. So it becomes like for us, we will go to a doctor, and nowadays we are going to doctors not only when we are ill, we just want to take precautions. So once in a year, we go for a mandatory check, right? So the same thing, even our structure requires. So structure might be designed for 50 years, 75 years, 100 years, depending upon the importance we all know. So, but we should not just leave it like that, like without checking. Okay. So something which we check on a periodic basis is something which we are doing in NDT since ages. I'm not telling it is only few years back. Whereas health monitoring technique, how different health monitoring is from NDT is, in the health monitoring, we can do continuous monitoring. Okay, how it is being done, the continuous monitoring, what are the aspects, I'll be discussing it in my future slide. So this picture I have just told that how a man go for regular checkup to have a very healthy long life, even our structure requires that. Okay. And one more thing is, I always say this, see, one person go for a health checkup, only that person's health will be maintained. But a civil engineering structure like this, I have shown this bridge or a multi-story building. So that structure is health is not maintained properly, then many such human beings or animals life will be on stake. So monitoring of a structure becomes very, very okay. Then again, so in this term, as nowadays SHM engineers are very, very widely used term in many of the countries. India, yes, slowly it is picking up. I'll be talking about it in my future slide. So just we civil engineers can also be doctors. We are doctors of for many lives, like if we monitor the structure properly. Okay, so SHM engineer is just like a doctor. Fine. Then yeah, this is see SHM one. How to define SHM? There is no particular definition for SHM. It's your way of like defining it with meaningful sentences. So these three sentences I have just taken from different books, different papers. Okay, so it's nothing that there is a one particular definition for a technique. Okay, health monitoring technique, yes, we are checking it regularly to make them fit, to make them have a long life, to have a distress-free life. Fine, everything is accepted. Okay, so SHM, there is no particular definition, but you can define it in your own way, which has meaning. Okay, so these are few pics. I told you, to make it more interesting, I have added few pictures. Okay, so this is just about sorry, blocking. So this is just about just how a person undergoes a treatment. Yes, even our structure requires it. And this is a very different kind. You can always see a civil engineer with a helmet on his head and moving in the hot sun. But no, it's not mandatory. And I'm not telling that moving in a hot sun, it's not our part of job. Yes, that should be the first step. Okay, so when a person goes and feels the structure, touch the structure, sees its construction, then only he can be able to monitor. Okay, so a civil engineer will be monitoring it on his laptop, on his desktop, or even in his mobile phone, sitting at one place. Okay, and this is the whole concept of SHM, which I'll be taking up later. Next is yeah. So there are some goals of SHM. Okay. So there are actually 5. The goals of SHM is defined in 5 levels. Okay. That is level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. So level 1, if you get a result, then only you will move to level 2. Similarly, level 2, if you get, you move to level 3. So level 1 is Whenever you see you're going blindly and monitoring it, there are two types of monitoring. You see damage and you go and monitor. Otherwise, the structure is intact, it looks perfect, and you go for monitoring. That is what I told you. A person can be healthy, but he wants his health to get monitored because something cannot be seen or something cannot be felt might be there. Okay, so that is the level one, that is detection, whether there is any damage in the structure. So that is the detection of damage. Yes, there is some damage found. Go to the second level, localization. Where is the damage present? For example, if you have gone for a health checkup, you go and walk on a treadmill. Yes, there is some problem. Then localization, where actually usually treadmill is related to the function of heart. So in the heart, what is the problem? That in that aspect you think. Okay. So one is detection of damage. Next, where is the damage? That is localization. Then fine, you have found where is the damage. Then what is the kind of damage? Okay, what is the extent? That will be the next. Okay, you have found the damage. Then what kind of damage is it? Next is what is the extent of damage? How severe the damage is? That is the fourth level. Next level will be prognosis. Because of the presence of the damage, what will be its future life? So, see why damage means I will not wait for it to get degraded and structure to fall by finding its age. Okay, the thing is, because of this damage, do I have time to retrofit it without disturbing the activities happening, or else I have to immediately stop the function of the structure and then I have to take up the retrofitting aspect. So that all those things comes under the level 5. Okay, so this is a wonderful, SHM has a wonderful history, because I told you that, excuse me, 1 second. So the thing is, it has got a wonderful history. So I told you that NDT came into existence in the year 1940s. And the thing is, uh, 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 Air Force Engineering, SHM was first used in the like aerospace engineering, where every structure, okay, every aircraft, I'll talk with respect to aircraft. So every aircraft before the takeoff and soon after landing was subjected to NDT, non-destructive testing. The thorough testing was happening before the takeoff and after the landing. But no, Alhoa Airlines, it happened in 1988. So what happened was, during the takeoff, the upper part of the structure of the aeroplane, it just like flew off. So this was a very like a shocking for aerospace engineers who were monitoring right that time. I cannot say it was monitoring. So they were thinking that we have done a NDT, and again after landing we are doing, but during its working, okay, during its working period, what is going on? If that is being, if we can do that monitoring part, then it will be good. This would have not happened. Okay, excuse me. So this would have not happened. So that was the first food for thought for all the aerospace engineers, and they took it as a subject, health monitoring. Okay, so I'm not telling that we were the first civil engineers were the first people to use, but slowly it started moving to mechanical engineering as well as civil engineering. So civil engineering, we started using the health monitoring technique in the late 90s, and late 90s was that Injaka Bridge collapse in July 1998. That was time when we, like, I'm not telling that we civil engineers or the people who were involved in this construction field, they did not think, but this was an eye opener for all of us. Even people were thinking about it, how to move about the monitoring part in civil engineering. So the Foyle Bridge was the first bridge, okay, to be monitored. And there were few church in the Italy, which were the structures, that is the building kind of thing, which were monitored. And the Boeing 7E7 was the first aero space structure which was monitored. And here you can see, so it comprises comprised of many like composite things, like they have used CFRP, GFRP sheets, and they had embedded the sensors for the continuous monitoring of the structure. Next, see, these theory part I don't want to stress much upon, but there are fundamental axioms. There are some 7 axioms. So you must have heard of axioms. Axioms are some sentences which everybody has agreed. Yes, that is right. So there are 2 axioms which are being accepted by everyone for monitoring the structures. So very important axiom is the first one. We should never think that the structure which I have constructed is perfect. Okay, I always think I should be you should not think that, okay, I should not be confident about my structure. I have done a perfect design. Okay, I have done a perfect design. I have followed the code book norm. I have done a perfect design, but I don't know about the material provided to me. Fine. So we should always be in a mindset that all the materials have different flaws and weaknesses. Okay, so that is and so when we talk about health monitoring, we have to talk about the sensors and actuators. So all these are basic things for all the electronics, computer science, or electrical background people. But for us, it is not like we don't learn it in any subject. So I'm just giving you a very basic definition. So sensor means it can sense the change. So we have sense organs in our bodies, so we can sense the change. Fine. So sensor can sense the change, but it cannot measure anything. That we have to first understand. So we always say that sensors are used to measure the damage. No, sensors cannot measure the damage. Sensors can detect it and signal. It will be sent in the form of signals. So these two come hand in hand. Okay, you might have studied a bit about it in your +2 and all, sensors and actuators. So to make it very simple, I have taken 3 examples. Okay, very basic examples. So sensor, okay, skin can sense so many things. It can sense the pain, it can sense the heat, it can sense the, uh, that is basically temperature. So it will only sense, but actually what is happening to us is felt here, the brain. So it acts as the controller, and the action will be taken from the hand, which is actuated. I'll take a simple example. A mosquito is biting you. So immediately what will happen is your skin has sensed it. It has sent a signal to the brain where the processing has happened, and your hand, you will lift your hand to hit that mosquito. Okay, so this is a cycle. This is how the actual sensor and actuators work with the help of brain controller. And next is about SHM and biomimicry. So everything is a biomimicry. Most of the things on this earth, whatever we are using, aeroplanes
चालू झाली 68 इथं काउंट झालं
a body means the main unit where the processing takes place is our body of the blood I have shown
not come with air conditioning. I looked everywhere. Wait, I have an idea. Much better. My Lamborghini.
Without adding actuator to it, we will not be able to get the data. So that is the active and passive SHM. Next, this is how the actual thing works. So this is the beginning of SHM. Now we have this kind, okay, where we have the remote connection. Okay, in this type, it is completely a wired connection where a person has to sit near the structure or set up a station near the structure and monitor it. And nowadays we are using the wireless. That is, with the help of Internet of Things, we can get the data and place wherever I am sitting in my office on my laptop. There are many softwares available. Okay, so that is complete the electronics part, computer science part, where we can sit and get the signals. You can set a threshold value. If you have a beam somewhere which is very critical, you can set a threshold value for the deflection. And if the beam is deflecting more than that threshold value, you will get an alert in your office place. You need not have to sit near that particular beam and monitor it, but you can remotely monitor. So you can see the sensors and you can see a channel where the data box, that is where all these are connected, and it is in turn connected to the data acquisition. This is actually the data acquisition happens, and here the process happens. Okay, so from this the data is sent and it is, and remote controlling with the help of software we are doing it. And again, SHM, this is the main thing, experimental method. And even we are using very widely, we are using all these analytical methods, which are topic by itself. Maybe it is artificial neural network or a genetic algorithm or a fuzzy logic. I'm not going to touch upon these methods. I'm just telling you that you can even analytically monitor. Okay. And there are these experimental methods. Again, in the experimental methods, I have discussed about these things. We are using the sensors, data acquisition system, and the so there are, see, if we can do 1 or 2 hours webinar on sensors itself. Okay, so there are plenty of sensors available in the market, starting from 10 rupees to 10 lakh rupees. Okay, so depending upon the requirement, you have to decide on which sensor you have to procure. For that, you have to do a lot of literature. Okay, so because we are not from the same background, we have to do a lot of literature. See, my when Nitish sir was discussing, like introducing me to you guys, my basic area is SHM. So I did a lot of homework sitting with electronics and computer science people. How we can apply? They are also very happy. They have the technology, but they want to apply it somewhere. We are in need. We need people to apply. So if we work together, we can do wonders. Okay. So there are, I told you, there are n number of sensors, but again, the most commonly used are this one last one, piezo sensors in the application, because it is actually it's not expensive, it is cheap actually, and highly economical project. So acoustic emission sensors, fiber optic sensors, you might have heard of. So very, very brief introduction I'll be giving about these three, and what all we can use, measure. Again, please don't take it by the word measure. After processing only we can measure. Sensor will help us to measure, but it will not measure. Okay, sensor only sense and gives signal. So we can find out the mechanical deformations such as strain, displacement, any crack, stress, load. Then you can even temperature sensors are there, where you can find what is the temperature, humidity, what is the pore pressure, then also the chemical aspect. Okay, chemical aspect is very important for our structure, especially the marine structure, because if the structure is exposed, the steel is exposed and it starts corroding, then automatically our structure stops performing. Fine. So fiber optic, then the fiber optic will be embedded inside the structure, and you can see how we can see the rays here. The thing is, if there is any crack found, then the amplitude changes. From this, you can see that the structure has some flaw or a crack or anything inside. Okay, and the next will be the acoustic emission sensors, where the ultrasonic waves travel through the. See, this I'm not telling only we are using it in our health monitoring. This is also used in. That's what I'm telling. The debate is going on. Is NDT same as SHM, or so? Basically, I differ SHM as we can do the continuous monitoring and the remote monitoring. So now we use it in the form of sensors where the sound waves travel, and again, if there is any crack, there will be a disturbance in the travel. So that helps us to know that there is a flaw in the structure. Then piezo sensors, as I told you, sorry, there is some while adding something that has been added again. I'm sorry for that. Now you can see piezo is a Greek word. Okay, so here what will happen is when a mechanical load is applied, piezo is a crystal actually. Okay, it's a crystal. When a mechanical load is applied, then we can see the electric charge. Okay, so this is directly related to the stress. So when the stress increases, this voltmeter reading also increases. From that, we can measure that there's a distress in the structure. So piezo sensors are used this way in our civil engineering. Then these are, I'm not telling these are the only structures. There are plenty of structures which are monitored worldwide. So I have just named a few structures. So that my major interest is this because it is from our country. Okay, the signature bridge is in New Delhi. So this bridge is there was an old bridge, and again there was an accident, and it was a major accident when the bridge failed, and this new structure has come up. So it is being monitored right from the stage of inspection. Okay, and Golden Gate Bridge, it is a very famous bridge situated in India, and many other bridges throughout the world is being monitored. And this is masjid, very famous masjid in Saudi Arabia, that Mecca, we all know that. And this structure is being monitored now. So there is a lot of monitoring work going on worldwide. Next will be one simple these two, I spoke about signature bridge. So this is one structure, that is Naini Bridge, which is constructed over Yamuna River, which is near Allahabad. This is being monitored, and I'm not telling it is continuously monitored, but I'll be talking about it. Then the next will be the very interesting structure, that is the Statue of Unity, which is 182 meters high. We all know it is the statue of Sri Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and it is situated in Gujarat. So everybody knows about this structure. So this structure is again being monitored. So you might be knowing about this structure, but you might not be knowing that this structure is monitored because it is subjected to subjected to so many unexpected loads. Okay, wind load aspect is taken into consider, earthquake load is taken into consider. Okay, if you have any, like if you go and Google, you see about how this building, the statue is being constructed and how many materials are used. The skeleton is different. The concreting part is the foundation part. The upper part is bronze. So a lot of composites are being used. So it is a structure worth monitoring. Okay. And next is the Naini Bridge. Naini Bridge, which is a case study. So Naini Bridge is situated in Allahabad. So this structure is being monitored. I cannot say it is being monitored. It was monitored for a while because this is a very important structure, and they wanted to see how it behaves during the construction and even when it was subjected to the actual loading. Okay, when it was it was open for the traffic, it was monitored for a few days, and as per my knowledge goes, the monitoring is being stopped. If it is restarted, I don't have any idea, but as per my knowledge, the it was monitored for a few days after it was open to traffic, but it was being monitored since the day the construction started. Okay, so it belongs to National Highway Agency of India, and it is designed by an American company, and those people are only monitoring the structure. And it is almost 1.5 kilometers long structure, and you can see the other details also. And it is a cable stayed bridge. Okay, so I'm not telling about how it was monitored and all. I just want to say that where are the sensors placed in this? See, which are the vulnerable regions, usually at the crown of where the cables are connected and the foundation to see the settlement. Okay, at each and every crown and at the beginning of the bridge and at each and every pile. Okay, the sensors were mounted to see the displacement, stress, vibration, because every bridge, especially a cable stayed bridge or any bridge, the vibration data collection has become very important, and it was monitored. And when it was seen that it is working very well, then the monitoring system was just withdrawn. Okay, and with it, all these data, I just want to conclude that both NDT and health monitoring are very, very important aspects of our structural, okay, existing structure. Especially, see, India is known for its monuments, and we are losing few monuments because they are not monitored properly and it is maintained. If you monitor it, you can maintain it. Monitoring may be using the health monitoring technique or NDT.
आपोआप येते तुम्हाला. मग काय ते कशासाठी केलंय, तयार करत बसा. इथं तयार करताना दिसलं काय मी एवढं 300 जणांचं करत बसा माने सर.
We are so like surprised to see that a few structures have withstood many high magnitude earthquakes also. So few structures we lost in, for example, in the Bhuj earthquake, there were few monuments we had to lose. So if we all make up our mind and take up these two things, NDT and health monitoring, as a very important part of our civil engineering, then they can protect all the heritage as well as the infrastructure or even our small little buildings. Okay, and with that, I just want to conclude that SHM or NDT, SHM is completely interdisciplinary work. So if we should not go by
माने सर काय सेटल ईमेलला जाते तुमच्या. सर जरा एक मिनिट. काय thank you, madam, for sharing your views on NDT and SHM, that is structural health monitoring. Okay, so due to some technical problem, it was technical problem. So Zoom meeting was been cancelled, and correspondingly new Google Meet was been sent to the participants. Okay, so correspondingly another account has been there, so over which more than 80 plus participants, and right now here 60 plus participants were there. Okay. So first of all, I will have correspondingly, I will say sorry to the participants Okay, so for having inconvenience for you. Okay. Again, I would like to take the questions, ma'am. So some of the students are having questions. Uh, so
Posted in the chat.
yeah.
I was presenting my entire screen. I was
Yes,
not
yes,
able
yes.
to-
So Surendra Verma has asked a question that type of RH references given in any IS code.
See, actually, there is no IS code for SSM as of now. So only for few NDT textbooks I told you, the code is there. But see, when the usage starts, you know, see, most of the NDT equipment also, we are procuring from outside. If you procure it, they will actually import it and give it to us. So with their norms,
माने सर,
charge or whatever,
तिथले ते हे चालू करा.
have to
तिथे चॅट बॉक्स मध्ये मेसेज आहे बघ. ते मेसेजचा मला फोटो काढून पाठवून द्या.
not that somebody will give an
तिथं आहे बघ. फोटो काढून आणा.
worked out and we are using that. Okay, but right now India we don't have a time we have it. But slowly when we start using it, get manufactured and we will start working.
Second question is that what are the authentic guidelines for structural health monitoring? Structural health.
Yeah. So again, there are many guidelines for health monitoring guideline books are available. Okay, so if you just go and browse, you will get it. It is not that you have to purchase it. Guidelines are freely available in the Google. You have to download it. But I'm not telling it is. But there is not much difference between their materials and our materials. Okay, the guidance can be used and the sensors can be like a little varied with respect to our thing, but there are guidelines available for.
Okay. Yeah. So Ninad Pawar is asking that what is your view on changing scenario or technology related to structure? As we know from ancient times, simple structures were used with the help of natural materials like soil, limestone, bamboo, etc. To recently modern material we used, but we need more testing technology to test stress and stress in the structure.
Okay, so it's a very good question. I don't know whether it's a student or parent or a person from the it's a very good question. See, most of the, especially the stone hammer and that, we use it for the concrete thing. But as we more like for olden materials for lime or even mud, so we cannot check structures with these NDT techniques. So we have very government organizations with coordination with our IIT. So they are working and they are developing special sensors or special equipment to monitor these structures which are constructed with our olden methods. So that the work is along with CSIR, the work is being carried out and they have made some like new equipment that modified the equipment which can check the years, not only the function.
Okay. So is there any other participant who is supposed to ask the question or queries regarding the said webinar? You can unmute your mic and ask the question.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very few things with them.
Yeah. Yes, anyone? You can unmute your mic and ask the question directly. Okay. So I think so there is no question. Okay. So we'll move to the closing of the session, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I would like to thank you one and all for showing such enormous response to the webinar. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your valuable time, thoughts and concepts in NDT and SHM in civil structure evaluation. I would like to thank our college management, Dr. H.M. Kadam sir, who is working as regional director, Principal Dr. V.R. Ghorpade sir, Professor V.S. Kadam sir, HOD, who is our HOD Civil Engineering Department, my colleagues, teaching and non-teaching staff, for smoothly conducting this webinar. And also, all participants are requested to fill up the feedback form correctly. Okay, whose link will be provided to you through the mail directly. Okay, and the link of the feedback will be closed at 2 p.m. Okay, so thank you one and all. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, so we'll close up the session. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, one and all.